Greetings, welcome to my channel, View from My Desktop. We here at View from My Desktop like to show affordable hi-fi equipment that looks nice, sounds nice, and is at a budget price. Today we're going to do a review of some bookshelf speakers from the company Elac. So let's get started. Okay, today's review is going to be on the bookshelf speakers known as the Elac BS41. I often refer to them as the Elac 4s. But the actual name is the BS41. But you may hear me call them the Elac 4 from time to time. But anyway, a little bit about these speakers. These are 48 to 35,000 hertz frequency. They're 6 ohms. The sensitivity is 84 dB. And crossover 2,000 hertz. The maximum power input is 80 watts. They have a 1-inch cloth dome tweeter behind the screen here, and they have a 4-inch polypropylene woofer. And the cabinet is black brushed vinyl. Alright. The speakers on the back, you see they are rear ported with 5-way binding posts, gold plated 5-way binding posts. These speakers sound nice, really nice. I'm pretty sure you're going to listen to these speakers. I enjoy listening to these speakers. How I came to do my review on these speakers, I had cleared everything off the desktop, and I had connected my, I had a Fosi Audio V3 and with Fosi Audio P3 preamp, and I had a Topping E30II lite DAC. And I had that connected with a 32 volt adapter, and so I needed some speakers to connect to that system, and these speakers like a little bit of juice, and that did have a little bit of juice. So I connected that to this, and the speakers sound very nice. Was pretty warm with the Fosi P3. That gave me a pretty warm sound, but it was a very nice clear sound. Also had it connected to a subwoofer, a Rockville subwoofer, and you know that it had a very nice sound. I played it with the subwoofer, without the subwoofer. I also connected a 48 volt power supply, and that was too much for these speakers. I believe I could have blown these speakers with that 48 volt power adapter. Before I had these set up in the desktop, they were set up previously with a 24 volt power adapter, and that also sound pretty good. But I think the 32 sound the best for these speakers. And I also then connected, I had a Fosi Audio A5, and I'm going to have to do a review for that in the future, and that also sound nice with the high pass filter and everything. But I didn't do a whole lot with the high pass. I was with the high pass filter. I was just really connecting it to make sure it was working properly before I connected to a system in another room. But it had a very enjoyable sound. But what I did after listening to it through the Fosi V3 was I connected this to a Daakro AK45, and that also sound pretty nice. I like the way it sounds through that AK45 also, but it was only loud enough. It was only loud enough for near field hearing. It wasn't going to fill up a room. These speakers have low sensitivity, and they really need a little bit more power than you're going to get from that 12 volt amplifier. I don't think you have any problem with 24 volt supply, with 24 volt power supply, but I would recommend a 32 volt for these here. And I think I didn't have it connected to a 36, but the 48 was definitely more than these speakers want. They started chipping a little bit, and that was, I really do believe I could have blown these speakers with that 48 volt. And even though they want a lot of power, they're not really designed to play very super loud. They want power, but at a lot of speakers that I have a lot higher sensitivity, and I don't need as much power to get that level of volume out of them. But these want a little bit more power. That's why I said the 32 volt or something equivalent something equivalent to that for these here speakers, I think would be the best bet. And just avoid something like 12 volts, some under 24 volt, unless you want to listen to them up close. Near field is fine, but once I got about 5 feet away from the speakers, the sound stage was just gone. They didn't sound very nice. The sound just wasn't what I want out of these speakers, especially speakers that these are over $150 speakers. So speakers that cost, you know, closer to $200 range, you're gonna probably want some speakers that cost. You're gonna probably want an amplifier that costs more than $30. That's just you know, speakers probably cost more than the amplifier, but all those pieces of equipment, you know, when I had the V3, the P3, and the Topping ES32 Lite, all those things are in the same price range as like these speakers, you know, the Elac BS40, but the AK45 is not. So that's what I would recommend, something with a little bit more power if you want to get the most out of these speakers here. But they do sound nice. They sound very, 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 very nice. And like I said, they do look a little bit like the monolith. When I mentioned that in the review with the monolith, and you can see the similarity, I think. And I'm probably try to do a side-by-side review with those two speakers. All right. Please remember to always listen to good things. I hope you enjoy this video, and as always, thanks for watching. Peace.